Back, and a happy Mother's Day to you. If you're just joining us, we're in conversation with one of the mothers of the struggle, Lindiwe Zulu, and she's the Minister of Small Business Development. Before the break, you were talking to us about the difficult time that you went through in exile and being a mother at that time. You mentioned something very important, and that is the youth of today are perhaps in a better space. But are we really, when you take a look at family units and everything that is happening in terms of young women who are being killed, in terms of how men treat the women in South Africa today?
I still think we are. If we were to take a step back and look at where women were during the liberation struggle, but even before the liberation struggle. The issue of patriarchy in South Africa is something that dates back, way back. But if you look at what we have done collectively as women to change that, through laws, through regulation, through creating a conducive environment for women, I think that if you were to take a step back 40 years ago, you wouldn't be sitting there and doing what you're doing. Not because you were not capable of doing, but simply because you were a woman. It didn't matter whether you were black or white. The fact of the matter is that you were a woman, and you wouldn't have been considered that you would be a person who's capable of doing what you're doing. Yes, there's a lot that needs to be done. We haven't done enough. We're still a long way from creating safe environment for women, from creating an environment where women are not abused, where women are respected and given their status in society as to what they need to. We're still a very long way from there. But if we make comparisons, we really have gone quite a distance in trying to create the right environment. My view is there's a lot that needs to be done at society level, because we can pass the law. When you have your boyfriend in your room, the law is not there. When I'm with my husband in my own home, the law is not there. It's how he looks at me, how he feels about me, and it's about me, how we relate to each other. Because when the bashing begins, there's no law in the room.
Let me expand on that. As we celebrate Mother's Day, there are mothers who are in mourning because they've lost their daughters at the hands of their lovers. As we celebrate Mother's Day, there are mothers who are fearful for their daughters and their granddaughters. Do you fear for your grandchildren or for your daughters, who are women living in a society where femicide is continuing to rise?
I fear for my children. I fear for my granddaughters. I fear because even if we as a family have created a different environment, they have to go out and face the world. And that world is the South African environment, where if they were to be walking somewhere in the night, they will be seen as targets. So I fear for them. That is a fact. However, my fear makes me do something about it. My fear makes me talk about this, the way we bring up the children at home, the way we empower the girls at home. It makes me do something, because for me to fear and not do something about it, it doesn't make sense. The doing about it comes from the fact that we did something about changing the lives of South Africans by ensuring that we took up arms to say we're going to fight the system, because the system was not creating a conducive environment for us as black people. So this is what we need to continue doing. Continue to confront those challenges, and not think confronting those challenges is about just passing the law. It's about education. It's about helping communities to be very strong communities. It's about community members being able to see that something is not right and being able to take action about it, and not close their ears and their eyes because they believe that it's got nothing to do with us. It's about collective action that needs to be taken by community and society, because had we, during the 1976 and prior to 76, had we not taken collective decisions that we want to fight the system, and we did, and we put all efforts to it, we wouldn't be where we are. So I feel the same with the scourge that we're facing with now. Let's go deeper and find out what else can we do better. From policing, from courts, to judges, to everybody, but most importantly, day-to-day lives of our people. Those that are abusive, where do they wake up in the morning? Those that are abusive, what goes into their minds? Those that are abusive, don't they have sisters themselves? Don't they have mothers themselves? Don't they have grandmothers themselves? What goes on in their minds?
May I ask you a personal question, and if I beg your pardon if it's out of turn, but in trying to see how far we have come where this issue is concerned, I'd like to draw on your personal experiences within the camps when you were in exile in terms of how women were treated as opposed to how men were treated, or how the men even treated women who were in exile.
Those men and women were products of South African society. So when you come out of society in South Africa and the treatment of women is such that women cannot be equal to men, was an expression of where we came from. So there was nothing new when we were in the camps, and you'd find that we do exactly the same thing as anybody else, but we would never be given positions when it came to being appointed as commanders, as commissars, or anything of that sort. It wouldn't happen simply because you're a woman. And that's why I'm saying we were a reflection of the society we were coming from. However, there was a bit of a difference in the sense that the environment was close to a point where the ANC then had to put certain systems in place that would empower women. So the comrades at the camp would be forced to give respect to the women. They would be forced by ourselves as women who stood up and fought for ourselves to say, why is it that we wake up same time, we run same kilometers, we do the same training, we do the political education, we pass the classes like everybody else, but we are not taken seriously simply because we were women. Because the African National Congress as an organization and leadership was very clear that it needed to help us, both men and women, to understand that the status of women had to be as equal as all. It was never easy. We had to fight even in that space, because firstly we are fighting to empower yourself so that you can be able to fight, but at the same time you have to fight within the same system in the ANC itself. And the history of women in the ANC dating way back before we even got to the camps, Abo Megetu Chope, Abo Masisulu and all of them also had to fight within the ANC itself for the recognition of women. Remember that when the ANC was formed, women could not be members of the ANC. They had to fight to be members of the ANC. So as I said earlier on, is that just a patriarchal environment in which we live in calls on women to have this consistent struggle for the emancipation of women. So in the camps, it was a struggle. It continues to be a struggle even today. Even today.
It's rather a heavy note, but to end off on a heavy note, I beg your pardon. Thank you very much for your time this morning. Again, happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers.
Get spoiled and treated all kinds of well.
I'm on my way to Velcom. I'm working, so there's no Mother's Day for me today.
When the job calls,
thank you.
Of course, the Small Business Development Minister, Lindiwe Zulu.